Our next topic is two-way tables. What is that? So first of all, a table is a good way to organize data. And a two-way table in particular always consists of an event and its opposite. That can be the event having a sister, and then the opposite would be not have a sister. Or being right-handed, and then the opposite would of course be not being right-handed, or you could say being left-handed. So I've created an example for you here. There's a total of 30 people, and 12 of those have a sister, right? A total of 30, 12 have a sister, and 17 have an iPhone, and 10 have both. Okay, so now we want to organize that information into a table, which I've written down here for you. So, first of all, first column is referring to sisters. Second column to not sisters. So if we would want to give that a different color, we have the sisters here in the first column and not sisters in the second column. What we also have is a total. The total is 30, and the total goes into this row. So as there's a total of 30, that goes here in the very far corner. The total of 30 is there. So what other information do we have? We have the information that there's a total of 12 sisters. Well, okay. Let's put that in the table. 12 sisters. The last row says total, so the total of the sisters goes in there. Next question was, who has an iPhone? And there were 17 people who had an iPhone. So I go into the first row, which is iPhone, and I know there's a total of 17 people. So this one is another total. 17 people have an iPhone. Okay, there's my number. And then I also have another information, which is that 10 people have both. 10 people have a sister and 10 people have an iPhone. So those people who have both would go into this cell here, sister and iPhone. So that leads into that cell. Both is 10. 10 people have a sister and 10 people have an iPhone. So there you go, that's a 10. That's the information I have. But now I can actually find the other information from this, because in a two-way table, each line adds up to a total and each row. So we're having 10 people here who have a sister and an iPhone. And I know that a total of 17 people have an iPhone. So that means there are 7 people missing. 10 plus 7 is 17. So the first row is complete. That means those 7 people have an iPhone, but they do not have a sister. We can now fill the gap for the first column in an equal manner. So we're having a total of 12 people who have a sister, and 10 have a sister and an iPhone. So that means 2 people, because 10 plus 2 is 12, 2 people have a sister, but do not have an iPhone. Okay. As the columns add up to a total, we see that he is 17 and he is something missing. And the missing number here is 13, because 17 plus 13 equals 30. In the same way, we can find the missing number in the last row. We have 12 people who have a sister. And now we need to find the number of people who do not have a sister. And that is 18, because 12 plus 18 equals to 30. So only one last gap missing, and there are 2 different ways to find that. We can either say, we can have a look at the column here, not sister. 7 plus a number needs to add up to 18, so that number is then going to be 11. And we can cross-check that it also works in the same way for the second row, because 2 plus 11 equals a total of 30. So now we have managed to organize our data into a nice two-way table. But when we actually want to interpret that two-way table, it is often necessary to rewrite the raw data as percentages. So therefore, I have made the second table for you. And the one thing you need to know here is that you do calculate the percentages column-wise. So you always work from the top to the bottom. So we are having, the first column is sisters, okay? So we're working from the top to the bottom. There are 10 people out of 12 who have a sister and an iPhone. Okay, so let's write it like that, because this will give us the percentage. 10 over 12, right? 10 people out of 12 times by 100 gives you a percentage. And that percentage, if you type that in the calculator, is 83%, rounded to a whole percentage. So then, next one in that column is 2 out of 12. So 2 out of 12 people, and then again times by 100 to get the percentage, have a sister but don't have an iPhone. And then written as a percentage, this is going to be 17%. So you just type in your calculator 2 over 12 times 100. And then the total is, of course, 100%. So you add those two up. We're having 38 and 17, and we plus them. And that gives me a total of 100%. Okay, let's do the same thing for the second column. We're having a total of 18 here. Okay, and 7 out of those 18 do not have a sister, but they do have an iPhone. So then what we do is we take 7 over 18. Times it by 100 again to get a percentage. And that percentage is 39%. Okay, next entry. We have 11. 11 out of 18 people do not have a sister and not have an iPhone. So 11 over 18 times 100, and the percentage for that is 61%. Okay, if we add those two numbers now, 39% and 61%, we get 100% again. Good. We can now do the same thing for the last column, the total column. We are again working from the top to the bottom. So we're having 17 out of 30 people have an iPhone. So 17 over 30 times 100, and you get a percentage of 57%. That's the total. Also, the next one is 13. 13 people do not have an iPhone. 13 people out of 30 times by 100, and that gives you the percentage 43%. So if we add those two up, we then again get 100%. Won't let me. So we added 100%. There you go. And that's why it's important to know that we only work column-wise for the percentages, because if we would work along the row, this actually wouldn't work out, because we would then get 200% here. That's not possible, or that's not working. And also, we would never get, if we would work along this row, we would never get 43%, because we have 17 plus 61, so that's going to be 78 and not 43. Okay, so please keep in mind when you do the percentages, you need to work column-wise, so from the top to the bottom. what I want you to do now is exercise 502, only the odd question, that's on page 103, 104, and that's only 3 questions. Please ask for assistance if you need help.